Hello, everybody. Wow, that went on fast. Hey, guys, welcome. Third show of the day. Welcome to Freedom Friday on the TED Show. This is one of my favorite, this is my highlight of the week, one of them anyway. I'm going to get to talk to so many guests, but I get so many comments and compliments on the fact that we talk about freedom, because what do we want to do? I want to encourage you to have the freedom to do things differently. And so today's topic, we got a lot of feedback on not in your, being in your circle doesn't mean that you're in their corner or your corner. And so on Freedom Friday today, I kind of want to elaborate on that. So once you realize they're not in your corner, what do you do? How do you know you have the freedom to do something, but what do you do? What are you allowing people to do to you or for you that you don't necessarily want in your life? So the show title today, I have to give kudos to my daughters, Courtney and Haley. They introduced me to it. It's from a podcast called Bitch Sesh. And the title of the show is Not Gonna Take That On. And the first time my daughter said it to me while we were visiting them last week, hey, John, I was like, what? Because, sorry, I've got bad allergies today. Because if you think about it, we take on so much stuff that we should not have to take on. We allow it into our lives. And so you've already established the fact that people aren't in your circle, or in your circle but not in your corner. But what do you do next? What do you say? Hey, Tyler. Hey, TB. What do you do next? How do you stop that insanity from continuing? And so when my daughter Courtney actually said it first, we were talking about some kind of drama that was going on, not in her life, but surrounding someone that she knew. And she goes, yeah, I'm not going to take that on. I thought, what a brilliant way to look at things. What a great defense mechanism. What a great fortress that you can build around yourself just by implementing that in your life. So what I want to talk about is not going to take that on. It is not your responsibility to take on any drama, any baggage. And I want to talk about some specific things in your life that I think that you should really reevaluate, and hopefully you'll say at the end of this, not going to take that on. So if you have anybody in your life that you feel is making you feel inferior, and I want to talk about really quick the psychology on that. So nobody can make you feel any way that you don't allow them. So remember, you teach people how to treat you. You teach people how to interact with you. And if you are giving them that permission, you're giving them that availability to your soul, your psyche, and you are allowing it to happen, then as much at fault as they are, you're the one that controls this whole ship. So if somebody comes at you and you're feeling inferior, they're not making you smile, they don't make you feel good about what you're doing, you know that they're not in your corner, you can say, not gonna take that on. And I want to reiterate how important that is. You don't have to take on other people's baggage with you. Hey, thank you, like my style, appreciate you. You don't have to listen to people who don't have your best interest at heart. So let's say somebody comes into your life, you're feeling bad, they don't like what you're doing. I mean, people will squash your dream in a minute, and they don't mean it necessarily, but that doesn't mean just because they're in your circle that you have to take on that baggage. So here's what happened this week with somebody that I know. They had a dream, a big dream. They were getting very close to signing something that would have made their dream. It was a dream job anyway. That's right, Carmen. Don't let anyone treat you the way you don't want to, because again, you're in control. They were very close to signing something, and thankfully, they happened to reach out to me, and they said, everybody around me is telling me this is the bad move for me. This is not the right place for me to be. And my question to them was, why? Why are those people saying that to you? This goes back to the circle and corner scenario, guys. Why are you taking that on? Why are you going to take on what their problems are, their belief system is, and you're going to let it impact something that you know in your heart is the right thing? So what you should say, not going to take that on. I can't reiterate that enough. So what did she do? She went back, she reevaluated, thank God, and she signed a deal, a really good deal, a lucrative deal for her that was part of her dream, part of her process. And she then messaged me later and said, why was I questioning myself? So why do we question ourselves? John, you're right. John says, sometimes I think I care and do for others before myself. I think we're all guilty of that, don't you? I think we're all guilty of, especially if you've got the empath or the giver heart, We're all part of that, where we're giving so much of ourselves, and then we allow that not only be taken, but then we lose ourselves in other people's baggage and other people's dreams, nightmares, whatever they have going on. It's not our responsibility to take that on for them. But what do? We want to be people pleasers. We've talked about this before. I'm telling you, you have the freedom not to be a people pleaser. You have the freedom to not take on the crap that people throw at you. And people are going to say, oh my God, he said a bad word. That's not a bad word. Crap's not a bad word. I see the smileys going up. But you also don't have to put up with a lot of other things. You're not going to take that on. Let's say that you have somebody in your life who's in your circle, but not in your corner, and you allow them to be in your life, but they're bringing you down. I encourage you to evaluate that relationship. Mediocrity in any relationship should not be part of what you're trying to accomplish. Does that mean that you give up on every single friend who's going through a bad time? No. But does that mean you have to take it on and make it part of your life's mission to help them, to correct them? You can be there for them without it impacting your life negatively. And I see this all the time. I have friends that come to me, they're in tears over their marital relationships, their boyfriend, girlfriend, their friends, and they're taking on all of this baggage that's going on. There's a difference, in my opinion, from being understanding and caring and compassionate and empathetic to actually taking that on and making it part of what you do and deal with on a daily basis. How is that not supposed to bring you down? If you're taking on 3-4 other people's problems and you're listening to them and you're allowing them to dictate the story that drives your life, then you are taking on way too much, and I want you to say, not gonna take that on. Because your life is meant to be something bigger and better. David, you're right. There's inner circles and outer circles in relationships. Keep the inner circle tight and have a strict, and I couldn't see what else you said, but I know what you're saying. You have got to protect yourself first. We are very good about not making self-preservation our number one priority. And just because you want to self-preserve, you want to protect yourself, doesn't mean that you're a selfish human being. It means that you can't be good to anybody else or yourself if you're letting everyone else dictate everything that's going on in your life. You have to protect yourself. Hey, Moises, you have to protect yourself. You have to make sure that you're right. You have to make sure you're right. Listen to me. You have to make sure your heart's right. You are strong enough. And if you are, then you can take on little bits and pieces of that. You're there for people. We all want to be there for people. But that doesn't mean that that person who's in your life is in your corner, and then that doesn't mean you have to take on whatever they have going on in their life. Remember, we're also impacted by things like rudeness. I've been dealing with this lately a lot. So I'm a big believer in you treat people well, they're going to treat you well. I'm a big believer in you do the right thing, the golden rule. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you that is not what everybody believes. They believe that because I put myself out there, and I'll use myself as an example. I put myself out there, I'm available 24/7. I mean, you can text me anytime, you can message me anytime. Because I put myself out there, I'm allowing them to have the expectation that I'm there 24/7. And if I'm not, they get ticked off. I've experienced that a lot lately. People giving me a hard time, kind of pushing back on me, going, well, I messaged you yesterday. Well, I'm sorry. I have a family. I have businesses to run. I'm a mortgage broker. I'm dealing with real estate transactions. I'm marketing. I'm engaging. It is so unfair to, hey, Jason, it's so unfair to have somebody expect that of you. But how do they know to expect that of you? You're allowing it. You're putting it out there. You're allowing them to text you and get mad about it. I have started to set boundaries. So I've had a few people that I've actually had to cut out of my Facebook. And I'm on a roll on that, people. And that's another thing we should talk about at some point. I'm on a roll about Facebook because here's the deal. You should not have to put up with the insanity that, hey, Melody, that goes on Facebook. That's another thing I see people do. You're taking it on. You're seeing the drama. You're engaging in it. And then when you engage in it and then back off a little bit, hey, Michelle, you take it on and it becomes part of what your mind thinks about all the time. And what happens when your mind's thinking about something all the time that's negative? You've got all these negative vibes around you. You've got negative energy around you. Why do you want negative energy around you? Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't be there for people, but what I'm saying is you don't have to take on their misery, their rudeness, their demands. You need to teach them how to treat you and the expectations of that relationship. And so I'm working on it too. I'm a work in progress. I'm the worst at this. If somebody texts me at 2 a.m. and I'm awake, I'm going to respond back. If somebody says, Ted, I've been trying to reach you for 2 hours and I haven't been able to get you, I'll respond back. But I shouldn't have to quantify that or qualify that. It should just be, Ted's busy like everyone else. Where in the world did you get the idea that I have to respond to your call that minute or your text message that minute? Where? Me. I'm the one that created that mess. I'm the one that has to fix it, and so are you. So if you are in relationships where you feel like you are so much is being asked of you, you're not being giving anything back, you have taught those people how to treat you. And I want you to say, not gonna take that on. Thank you, Michelle. It is important. I just see people suffering all the time. And so when my daughter said that to me, I thought, oh my God, that's kind of the theme of what I hear going on all the time in business, in relationships. I'm up at the club and I see people set expectations. You're right, Yvonne. Set the expectations. It's a great point. You have to set them, because if you don't set them, who's going to? They're going to take it to the nth degree. And it's not that people don't love you. So don't say just because somebody's taking advantage of you or you think they are feeling that you are, that they mean to do it, that they're horrible people. That's not what I'm saying. But you're allowing it to happen. You're allowing it to happen. Joe, I did not see what you posted, so repost that so I can read it because it looked good. You demand that I wear less hypnotizing shirts. Thanks, John. Got to lighten it up a little bit. But the whole point of this is that I'm feeling it just like you are. I'm feeling like the demands on me are heavy all the time, 24/7. People want me to be available to them all the time. And that is an unfair expectation on their part, but I'm really the one to blame, and so are you if we're letting it happen. Joe said something about a check. So you're going to have to go on. I'm going to read that later and share that, Joe, because it keeps scrolling by so fast. But on the not going to take this now, the other thing that I want you to think about is you don't have to put up with certain behaviors, controlling behaviors, dishonesty, people who are not necessarily, it doesn't mean that they don't love you, but if you are feeling like you can't trust somebody, you don't have to put up with that. You really don't have to listen to that, and you don't have to take that on. If you see somebody who is in a fight, like for example, this happened recently too. 2 friends of mine in a fight, not getting along. Each one had their own story and their own version of the story. Well, it's not my responsibility to fix it. It's not my responsibility to come out there and make either one happy. Because why? That is between the 2 of them. Can I listen to them? Can I be there for them? Yes. But if I set the expectation that I'm going to be the intermediary every time one of my friends doesn't like what the other one said, or people get in arguments, or somebody doesn't like how somebody was treated, I'm going to be bogged down in that 24/7. I'm not going to be able to live my life, and I'm going to be surrounded by negativity. So I want you to say, that's right, it's telling when someone cannot hear our no. Yes. You have to be able to say no. That's a whole nother topic, Michelle. I love that. But you have to be able to say, this just isn't in my wheelhouse. I love you, but it's not my responsibility to take it on. And anybody, your no, I don't know what that is, Yvonne, but you'll have to tell me. And I also want to bring up, I'm no Wapner. I like it. I'm Wapner. Yes, I probably am at this point. But the other thing I want to talk about, because of nonprofits, nonprofits are, it's just a crazy little world out there right now. And one of the things that recently came up was a nonprofit demanding a lot of my time. And what happens there is you have this guilt, you have this feeling, right? So if you're involved in anything philanthropic, anything charitable, anything that has to do with your kid's school, you pick it, whatever it is, committee you serve on. When the demand becomes so heavy and you're the one that they rely on so much to get stuff done, then it becomes, again, a whole nother life, and it's not what you want to do, it's what they're forcing you to do. But what I want to do is empower you to say, I'm not going to take that on. If you're the chair of a committee of XYZ, and the other chairman wants you to do more work, or the board wants you to do more work, I want to empower you to say no, and that's what I've had to say. I've had to back off about 3 charities this year, and it's not that I don't love the charities, it's not that I won't raise money for them, but I want you to know that's just a prime example of, listen, you can't take everything on. You can't have a family, a social life, a Facebook life, a business life, and put all of that work into, let's say, a charity, and then have all of those arenas, all of those areas expecting you to behave in a certain way 24/7, you will literally lose your mind. And I think that's where there's so much stress coming into the world right now. We have so much stress on us. We have expectations that we put on ourselves, that we allowed to be put on us. And we can step back and say, not going to take that on. And that's what I want you to do. That's what I'm working on right now. And that's where my heart is right now. So you have the freedom to say, not going to take that on. You have the freedom to say no. You have the freedom to teach people how to treat you and what the expectations are. And I want you to take that home today. I want you to take it home this weekend. I love you guys so much. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. We love you, and thank you for listening. The allergies are so bad today. But I love you guys so much. We'll talk to you soon.